Hey guys, this entire month has been full of banners with people saying that they're amazing and must pulls, and then other people saying that they are really bad. And I just keep seeing this over and over again, and this banner is going to also be one of them. This is a 2x by 15x, the first 2x by 15x banner we've had in a very long time for Boreas, Lucius, and Aries, which is actually a dupe banner from before. It is a reoccurring one that has already happened, and I think is the only 2x 15x banner that has been redone. And what's interesting is Boreas has the third 2x by 15x banner now, which is really weird. He's been on 3 so far, which is kind of nuts. But outside of that, we also have Elder and Jira for Ancient Summons.
So if you are planning on spending, this video is sponsored by Smile One. Smile One is the official third-party payment platform for the game. And if you're looking to get a little bit of a discount on all of your spending, this is the place to go. The way it works is you go to the site, you put in your ID right here, which is associated with your account. You pick which one you want to buy, and then you buy it. Now, if you do want to support the channel, my link will be in the description below. I get a little bit of an affiliate commission, you get some discounted W Gold, and we all win. There is also an event happening on these dates on the screen where when you buy stuff through the site, you're going to get a little bit of extra rewards, which is great. And there's always a lifetime discount of 10% or more on all purchases through the Smile One website. Thank you to Smile One for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to the rest of it.
I honestly can't really give a straight answer for this one. Because for some accounts, if you really want to pull for this, because it's a 2x by 15x, Boreas is pretty good, maybe you need Lucius, blah, 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 then I would tell you that it's okay. But also, in literally a month, we're projected to get another limited hero. And judging by the last limited hero, I think you have to save for them. So it's like it's a bit of a complicated situation, especially because you can't really, figure out what the limited hero does because we don't have any information on it, right? So to just kind of go into it, I guess I'll start with the 2x banner. The 2x banner, slowly over time, with the pool getting a bit larger on 15x's, which they do need to get increased, and I am trying to convince the devs to do something about it, however I can, like behind the scenes. But it's just like, I feel like over time, this slowly becomes a better banner because the 15x pool is so much bigger and the 15x works a bit a bit worse. But also, there's just another 2x 15x right up here. So honestly, I would skip it. And I still do stand by that if you're even more than like a month in, I think the 2x banner is a little worse. Like if you're going for quality over quantity, 15x's still are better. They still are just better. So keep that in mind. So I wouldn't pull on that. But we also, once again, like I've said multiple times, have a 2x by 15x banner. This one's a little complicated because a lot of these units are very, very niche or very, very specific. And you can kind of, for most content, replace them with other better units. But the thing is, if you don't have those units, they become really good. And, you might find some use there. So, Boreas, first of all, if you don't have Vierna or Comet and you're struggling on something like a Gear Aid 1, Boreas is amazing for you. The one downside Boreas has compared to Comet and Vierna, which are two of the other, mages that you're going to see through progression, the one issue with Boreas is he does not work in Geared Dungeon 1. You're going to need one of the other two. But the question is, if you don't have, if you have either Comet or Vierna already, should you go for Boreas? And to that, I would say it's not really necessary, but there is a couple areas where Boreas is good. He's still kind of decent in Arena, although Arena's been so power crept that if you have any better options like Ingrid, uh, you could even run a Nightmare comp in like AoE Arena. There are still better options, but Boreas is still really good in stuff like Guild v Guild. So if you have like a Cyrus and you're in more late game Guild v Guild, Boreas is actually incredibly valuable for you. He does kind of need a Cyrus to work. You can use him without a Lord, of course, But his A3 is incredibly important because he starts doing a ton of damage. His A5 is really good, extra ultimate duration. His A1 allows him to freeze more often on his basic attacks. Boreas is very, very good for Guilty Guild, and you kind of want to have him just so you have the option to use him. Obviously, you want him A3, maybe even A5 if you can. And if you want Awakenings, this is definitely the best banner to go for Awakenings for Boreas on. But like, it really is up to you, up to what you think you can build as a team. And it kind of just depends on what heroes you have already. Because if you have Comet or Vierna, for example, which are some of the potential replacements, you're not going to use him for progression very much. I will say he's really, really good in like Void Rift and for a lot of different PvE strategies. But at the end of the day, you could use most other units for that. You just need to do a little bit more effort and a little better gear. But moving on, we also have Lucius in this banner. Lucius has, in my eyes, one main reason to pull, and that's if you do not have Lyra or Kagiri. And that's because Lucius is one of 3 current units in the game which have a buff stripping ability. Lucius, in my opinion, has the worst one for something like a Guild Boss 2, which is where you're going to use this feature for, or this, ability for. And Lucius can be pretty frustrating. But the way buff stripping works is, for example, in Guild Boss 2, there's this Aegis phase where you get shields, and the boss keeps stacking shields. The second you click Lucius's ult, it's going to strip 5 of the buffs, or less, obviously, depending on how many the boss have, and it's going to strip them. And then the boss is slowly going to build them up again, and then you just got to strip them again. And then it makes the Guild Boss 2 second phase essentially a non-issue, and maybe even the easiest phase in that entire fight. You need to have a buff stripper if you're planning on easily getting to the max score possible. Now there are other options for this, like I said. One being Lyra, which is an infernal and esotericist. It is a little bit of a worse faction just because Watcher is more valuable, but Lyra, in my experience, is completely fine. If you have, I forget which part of her ability it says, but basically when you have 2 summons out on the field and you click her ultimate, it strips a buff. And this comes back a lot faster than Lucius. And the issue with Lucius, or Lucius, whatever the heck, the problem with him is this is one form. He has he swaps between 2 different forms. And then the other form he turns into like really fast shooting, doing more damage. But when he does that, it cleanses all his rage and it makes it so he can't have his ult, which means you can't cleanse it. I mean, you can't buff strip anymore. And then it's like, you just have to keep an eye on him so much, and it requires so much effort, and RNG can really mess you up. Lyra is just more consistent because you can actually, deal with her a bit better. And then the best option is by far Kagiri. Kagiri is an old limited unit from, I think, September, so like 3 months ago, maybe. He's really good. He does it just almost all the time, and he's really good. He does damage, great factions, and when he's awakened, he's the best or second best DPS for, Guild Boss 2, which is where you're using that feature. If you do not have Lyra or Lucius, I've put Lyra, Lucius, or Kagiri, I think he is a must pull. But Lucius, if you're like earlier on, and you let's say have a Watcher Lord, he can actually do really good damage. For Guild Boss 1, for example, for Styx, I've seen him get used for like Soleil and Epilogue. Lucius does a surprisingly large amount of damage, and he's definitely worth it if you need a marksman, in my opinion, as well. Aries is a little bit weird. If you don't have Torador, he's a much better unit than if you do have Torador or Rygar. But Aries, his main use that I found him for is, once again, if you don't have Rygar or Torador, but also for Epilogue Stage 6. I think he's pretty good. That's kind of it, though. He's fine to have, but you're not really going to be using him too much. Deimos also is really rare and really valuable, so keep that one in mind as well. And that's that banner. So it is a 2x 15x, higher likelihood of getting, a legendary, and then higher likelihood of getting a legendary on the banner. Boreas is the main chase here. Lucius if you don't have Kagiri or Lyra. Otherwise, I would kind of not, look at it too much. And the ancient banner is kind of bad. To just go over here, Elder is the worst ancient exclusive lord by a mile. It is not close. Demi is the only one that you could maybe make an argument for, but even then, Demi at least has the opportunity to be, really good in certain areas. She's just not that great in that many areas. Elder is just never the best. He's never great. Northerners are usually a defensive faction, and he makes them more offensive. But the rough thing about that is how many offensive units are there? There's Elder, who can do some damage. It's nothing special. Nocturne, who's been power crept to hell and back for over a year now and is much worse. Glacius, who is incredibly overrated in my opinion and not as good as people think. We have Ardea, who is amazing. Jira, who's amazing. But Jira, you're going to use on the other faction. Same with Ardea. You're just going to use them with Chaotic and Arbiter respectively. Same with Valkyra. Realistically, I mean, for like Gear Dungeon 1, you might want more damage, but the thing is, Isolde is better because she has 4 block instead of, Elder's 3 block. It's a bit complicated, just take my word for it. And that's kind of it, right? It's just not a faction built on offense, and Elder tries to make it built off offense, and it doesn't work. He has 1 range. He doesn't do a crazy amount of damage. He doesn't do a crazy amount of tanking. He's just like average in both. He's not good. He's not worth going for. If you're anywhere near Lord Pity in any sense of the word, don't pull on it. Like, please do not pull for Elder. He is not good. Jira, on the other hand, is actually quite good. If you don't have her, she is kind of worth pulling for, but on this trash ass banner, I wouldn't really risk it personally. Arbiter Northerner, her BP is incredibly high if you care about Guild BP, or even, Tide, I guess, technically. She does a lot of damage. She's good. Would I pull for her on this banner? No. I would label this kind of a skip. The thing is, there's like 5, maybe 4 units I would aim for, which are Valderant, Yovar, Kratos, and Ingrid. That's it. And there's rumors of a new faction coming sometime this year, so maybe we're gonna get a new faction lord sometime later this year. So personally, I think I might be saving for that. I do kind of want an A4 Jira. My Jira's A3. I got very lucky, but I'm skipping this 10 times out of 10. Now, what are we even saving for? Like I said at the beginning, Valentines is coming up. And if we follow the last trend, I mean, you could look at Google Trends. I'm not really going to show it on the screen right now because I gotta go do something after this. But if you look at Google Trends for Watch of Realms, outside of the launch, which is always the highest, no matter what, the Lust event was by far the most popular. So in my mind, obviously they're going to try to do something like, the Lust event again. So it's probably going to be a couple, and one of them is going to be a limited unit, like Lust and Arrogance or something. And they're also probably going to do a repeat of a lot of couple banners. So like last time we got Silas Vierna, very good banner. I assume they're going to do it again. I'm not 100% sure. We got Salazar Caneza, which I hope they know not to run again because no one will pull on that shitty banner. We also have stuff like Honora and Yimmerit, which I don't know if it will happen. I kind of hope it happens. We also have Kagiri and freaking Yuri now, which is kind of good. We have so many couples in this game. Like even Giselle and freaking Celine technically. I know there's probably a couple more, but you get the idea, right? They might run another couple banner, like Hex Twyla maybe. Hex Twyla would be sick. Hex Twyla, Silas Vierna, a new limited with a bond skill that might be really good, potentially. Maybe even run Kagiri again. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, no matter what they run, it's still probably better than this banner, unless you desperately need one of these units. So my verdict for today is I would skip if I were anyone, pretty much, and especially skip the ancient banner. Obviously, every account is different. I'm not telling you exactly what to do. This is just me trying to give you all of the information so you can make a decision yourself. That's kind of everything I wanted to talk about. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate y'all, and Destined signing out.